I know you have to connect with the kids, but I love to be able to have that where they're having just as much, they're forgetting that that they're paying you. That's what I love. They forget that they're paying you because it's so fabulous to have you there, and they're enjoying it so much. And I think that kind of just shows that you're putting that much, a little bit more effort. I like that. I just love storytelling. It's just.
That is absolutely true. When we're working the chair, to me, more than anything else, it's the dads more than anything else, because there's just something, I think that there's something about a dad that feels like he has to stay mortally attached to reality, for the protection of his family or something. So when you can get the dad involved, when you get the spell working so well that you can look up and catch the dad's eye, and you realize that he realizes that he's getting into this as much as the kids are, that's magic right there.
That's why that Polar Express story, and even though it's very lengthy and there's a lot of words on it, you could almost do that Polar Express in a little spot as a storytelling storytelling. You can have it doesn't take a lot of props, but it takes really knowing the story.
And I have the train whistle, that the wooden whistle, they go, and I blow the whistle, and I have a conductor's cap.
Mama has it with her.
Yeah.
There you go. So the Polar Express, by planning it in advance, and it's not one that really the Santa persona does as well. It's better if it's Mrs. Claus or someone who is pretending to be the conductor who's telling that story. I have done it as Santa, and I have started off with a preface saying, this is one of my most favorite stories of all time. And now I'm going to read you the story about the boy and his discovery of the Polar Express. And then I start the story, and then I get into that role of the storyteller. And during that story, and blowing of the whistle, and then at the end, having a little bell, a little conductor cap, and all that piece of that, it really is storytelling, where you're paraphrasing what's in the book, and you're taking them along the magic of the story. You're using the pictures in the book as dialogues. You don't have to. You can do what Mary Jo does when she does storytelling. Is not necessarily even has the book out. She just paraphrases the story. It doesn't make any effort to have it word for word.
I don't even have the book when I do I Love You Forever, and I wish I would have brought it, because it's and that's the beauty of and the thing is that you can always have that. It's always be in your back pocket. You may never even need it, but if you have 2 or 3 really fabulous Christmas stories that you could do that with wonderful, like that lady with the lady with the skirt. She just went like this, and they turned off the lights, and she stood up, and her skirt was a Christmas tree. I mean, it was fabulous. And the kids were all like, and it started out with just a book.
Big hit,
No.
I guess I went the wrong color.
You didn't get the memo?
So, in our low-key approach, when we're talking about Santa's entertainer, and where we are, and we always get some more, I think, where we are talking about focusing on using stories, you can do it by having the actual book, because this is one of the cardboard story versions of It Was the Night Before Christmas. And this one works. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
No, I don't say it. I say in hopes that I would soon be there.
Oh, okay. All right. Much
Oh,
better.
that's a good
Much better. And all of the drawings in this one are all on this page, and the text are on this one. And it is a way to have a smaller group be able to handle the story. And I was going to see if this one has the pipe or not.
Is there a secret for finding cardboard Christmas books?
Yeah, you just keep looking at the dollar table and 50% off. You got to keep looking. And I have lots of versions. I'm making a collection of, every time I see another one, that's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, I'm kind of making a collection of them, kind of my own thing, just for fun. But we're talking storytelling by using a picture book. We're talking about adjusting it. If you are going to have stories as being a part of it, having one that gives you the buttons to push for lights to give you that recovery. A couple of times, I started off thinking that I had a 3 to 5 year old window, but when I
Like that.
Break?
Hey, what time is it? 3 o'clock.
No, that's.
All right. So
Finish up.
when we are looking at a story as an approach, we're working with.
Get out of here.
We have it locked out. When we're looking at the stories as a filler, stories as a way to make it fit, one of my most successful parties was that was the one with the 33-year-olds. She asked for 2 hours of my time, and I took an elf along, and storytelling was a very important part of that 2 hours. I collected $300 from them for that 2-hour window. That was last year, and I charged $175 for the first hour, $125 for the second. But the envelope had the $300 bills in it, and obviously that extra. And when I left, they were all straight in the envelope. When I left, there were 3 20s that were all folded up and added to the envelope because it was a gangbuster, pop wheelie kind of experience. And the secret to that really, to have that work and to have that magic happen, was we planned in a 2-hour window, we planned some time that was just storytelling. But when I got into a story and I thought that it was going to go, I was able to close that story off and pull out the one with the little light. Push the button, pull out the next one with the little lights and push the button. And then I got into storytelling where I didn't even have a book. And one of the things that I recommend to the All Santas is to have 2 or 3 unique personal stories that you have developed. One of mine, and Chris and everybody who's around me got real tired of hearing it, is I used to say, well, Mrs. Claus has all the reindeer. They're up at the top, and they're munching away on.
Tundra grasses.
Look at Heather roll her eyes. But I created a narrative, a story, something about eating a nutritious, balanced diet of tundra grasses. But now for them to fly, they've got to have tundra grasses. Now, they normally eat just but filling the airwaves with stories about the reindeer, using some facts and information that I discovered about reindeers, and I put that all in there, and I created a filler. Not really a Shaggy Dog story that didn't go anywhere, but something that had a little moral to it. Well, Mrs. Claus cares that they eat a balanced diet. And yeah, that's why they aren't here right now. They're not up on the roof right now, so they're building up their magic ball. But having a story or two, that was like a 2-minute little filler, and then another little 1-minute filler. Why, do you remember the time that, and another one that I did was talked about, why, back in, was that 1935 or was that 1842? I don't know, it was a long time ago. And then I told a story about how difficult it was in the fog and in the storms. And, oh yeah, do you know why Santa has put seatbelts in the sleigh? Well, Santa has to have seatbelts. Can you imagine what it was like? I was up there at about 10,000 feet. We were going along. All of a sudden, there was this big pocket of air. It was like going down the elevator. Woo! And it's a good thing that I held on tight. And making up stories and being able to tell those stories, to fill the air, to tie with those kids. The other part is, of course, having a storybook. And if you have a helper, Susan for Santa Ben has a set of books, and she pulls out those books and has a conversation with the kids, and she